Hey now everybody, welcome to Englit.org. This is Dr. Island, and today we are talking about the English 101 online course. When you log into Canvas, you're going to see that the class is divided up into modules, and each module has essentially a week's worth of material, not counting the introductory material. The first thing you're going to notice is the syllabus up there at the top. That includes course description, course calendar, grading and assessment, and also a link to student services like tutoring, etc., etc. You also have a start module that essentially has a welcome message that you will also get when you contact me at englitguy@earthlink.net. And then there's a discussion about how to navigate the course calendar, and you will also have a discussion about how to do the responses that you're going to be doing during the course of the semester. And then you have this little quiz here that really just determines that you've read what I asked you to read before you get started on the course, just so you understand what we're doing. Essentially, an English 101 course requires that you learn three things. One is MLA formatting. The other one is the research paper and research. And then the third thing are the literary terms themselves. To that end, each week will require a certain level of reading and then sometimes, but not always, some writing. Mostly what you're doing is creating larger written works for me. So do not expect that you're going to submit something to me every week. However, it does not mean you're not working on something every week. You are either writing a short essay for me, such as a response, or you're writing a longer essay, such as a term paper. And to that end, you're going to be submitting a short series of long works rather than a great number of short works. To that end, the things that you're going to be reading include literary terms, obviously, conflict, character, symbolism, irony, conflict, etc., all that stuff throughout the semester. You're also going to be reading a story, and the primary sources in this class are all short stories. So you will have something by T.C. Boyle, and then something by Sherman Alexie, etc., Bobby M. Mason, all the way through the semester, and these stories are something that you read. You don't turn in something every time you read a story. Sometimes the story is designed to get you to understand a concept and to get an idea as to creating a conversation about symbolism or conflict. And then sometimes the resource is an opportunity for you to write a paper or to write a response or both. The other element that's important, obviously, is the paper formatting itself. What a research paper looks like, how to do MLA formatting, how to do citation, quotation, works cited, all that kind of stuff. And then if you notice at the end of a week that there is a response, you would then decide which of the 5 of the responses that are offered during the course of the semester that you're going to submit in order to maximize your participation grade. You do not have to do all the responses, and in fact, if you do all the responses, you're not going to get any extra credit or anything. You can do a maximum of 5, but ultimately you are using these as a way to practice in short form in a 3-paragraph essay what I'm going to be asking you to do in long form once you get to research papers. You'll also notice that for both the first paper and the final research paper, there is a message for you to begin that paper. In other words, I'm letting you know in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you're going to have a major term paper due. Get started on it now. And certainly as we go toward the final paper, as part of that, you'll also be developing an annotated works cited and also an outline. And as part of that, these are all bits and pieces of what a college level English research paper looks like. The other element so you have papers and you have responses for your grade. The other thing that is part of your grade is going to be a test. And a test simply is a timed written essay in which you'll appear on campus at the testing center. You'll bring a blue book and a copy of the story, and you will have read the story in advance, and you'll have thought about it, and you'll have decided what literary terms you're going to apply, and you will have gone through the work in a critical fashion, looking for quotations that you can underline or highlight that you will use to create a good argument in your test, and then you'll write a 5-paragraph essay in 80 minutes and leave it there. And that essentially is your grade. Mostly what you're doing is you're learning this skill. You're learning these through a series of tasks in which you demonstrate to me by the end of the semester that you understand what the college level research paper is, because you'll need it in other courses. To help you with that, you'll also have that be directed periodically 101deintro.org, which is my website. If you simply type in englit.org, you'll be taken to the lava lamp there, and you can groove on that for a while, or you can look through the distance education courses so you can find your course, and you will find, in this case, you'll find feet. And as you go through, you'll have the course calendar, course description, grading policy, the same that you saw at the top of the list here. But you'll also have other things that will be helpful to you, including discussions of paper formatting, what an annotated works cited looks like, how to take an in-class essay, outlines, paragraphing. Many of these things are linked from the calendar, but there's also other elements here that will help you in case one version of the discussion doesn't quite do it for you, then perhaps another one will. There are also some hints and helps for grammar and things like that if you struggle with sentence structure, spelling, and the like. And of course, there's links to the library resources specifically set aside for English 101 courses. The other element of this website that might be helpful to you is the archive of tests and papers, where you see specific examples of the material I'm asking you to do. We don't do the message board discussion group thing anymore, but the paper, the outline, the response, and the annotated works are all exemplified here, so that way you can see what I'm looking for in terms of a final product. Finally, and perhaps not finally, is the chat room and archive. While you're not required to attend chat on Wednesday evenings between 7 and 9 p.m., and if you wanted to, you would simply follow these directions, you are required to read the archive of chats. And each week, I hold a chat, and people show up or they don't, and they ask questions, and sometimes the questions are good enough, and I archive that chat, and then I post it here, and it allows you to see the conversation that's going on in class concerning formatting, concerning analysis of particular stories. And even when people do not show up, I post an archive that discusses such as things as paper 1, or how to analyze stories in general, or the particular analysis of a particular story, including the stories that we'll be using for the final paper. You need to be accessing this once a week or so and keeping up with it, because I add something every week. And that's really the class. Ultimately, you're going to be using this format here to submit your responses. When you write a paper for me, the paper 1 and the final paper, you'll be sending those directly to me at englitguy@earthlink.net, and you'll be leaving the test in the testing center, but ultimately you'll be using Canvas as your focal point for knowing what's due for every single week. Make sure you read through things before you ask me a question, because very often people ask me questions and it was already explained, oh, hey, when do we take a test? We'll get to that, Do I send everything directly to your email address? No, that's kind of explained in each thing that I give you. In other words, the idea is if you read the instructions and you still have a question, then ask me and I'll try to guide you into understanding as much as possible what I'm expecting and how that you can best maximize your grade. As always, if you have any questions, you can always send me an email at englitguy@earthlink.net, or you can ask me questions in chat on Wednesdays between 7 and 9 p.m. because that's what that's for. So anyway, work through the material and ultimately stay in touch.